Stuart Law, thanks for joining us. You've now had time to reflect on last week's defeat to Gloucester. What areas have you been focusing on in training with the boys this week?
Oh, mate, we focus on the good things, that we can do, not what we haven't been able to do. So we had a good meeting again this morning to discuss Hampshire's team. They turned us over down there early in the season, so we owe them one. But let's not focus too much on what they're doing. Let's worry about what we're trying to focus on. Sticking together, number one. Bowling, top of off. Corridors hasn't moved in 1,000 years, and when we bat, watch the ball, see the ball, hit the ball. Keep it very simple. We've gone back to basics this week, just talking and trying to make sure that the players are understanding that if you do the basics better than anyone else, you've got more chance of winning the game.
Absolutely. You talked about sticking together. That's something I guess that's hugely important when times are tough.
Yeah, it's testing culture. Normally you can get fraction. Players moving one way or the other, but the boys have been really good. There's been a second team game out at Radlett this week, and all first team boys have turned up and they've done some extra work in the gym out there, plus also some physios to maintain their body. So we have been sticking together. The chats on our app have been outstanding. So it's all talk. It's time to put those words into action. Starting tomorrow.
You've got some real young pups in that dressing room, alongside some senior pros. Who are those that you look up to bring those youngsters up?
All of them. No one can hide. The senior players have been doing it for a number of years now. We need more out of them, both on field and off field, to help us through this. And that's a good thing. That's not a criticism. That's just a way of life. The senior people teach the young pups through difficult situations, and we need everyone to do that. We've got a couple in intermediate that have been around a while, but not quite long enough as the other guys. So they need some guidance as well. So it's a massive job, but one that our senior boys are relishing and looking forward to getting right at some stage.
You mentioned Hampshire in opposition this week, and obviously our defeat down there, which was largely inspired by Abbas and Abbott. Hampshire do, in fairness, look a different side now. Their bowlers look a little bit cooked. You've obviously employed a rotation policy with the bowlers to keep them as fresh as possible. Hampshire seem to have gone another way.
Yeah, they have. Mind you, they were winning every game, so you're reluctant to change the lineup. So they have bowled a lot of overs, those two, but they're still high quality. We need to be on our game tomorrow morning again, no matter, regardless of how many overs they bowl. They've still got all the skill in their body. That hasn't fallen out. So we know that they're the main threat. They've got a very well balanced team, a couple of spin options, good batting, and they bat deep as well. So we know that we've got to be on our game. Forget about what they did to us and worry about what we're going to do to them starting tomorrow.
You can do all you can, Stu, to wrap those bowlers up in cotton wool and try your best to look after them, and then you get a freak injury for Toby. I mean, the guy's had some rotten luck. Just explain to us what a miss he's going to be being on the sidelines for a period of time.
Yeah, look, he's a massive person to have, not only in your team but in your dressing room. He's one of those guys who does grab the game by the scruff of the neck, and people jump on his coattails and get on his wave. So he is a massive loss for us. By all accounts, if it all going well, he should be back before the end of the season, which is great news if his rehab goes according to plan, and the ability to get back out there soon enough to start building up his workload again. We might see some action for him back into the season, which would be awesome. After the hard work he put into to go about changing the way he looked. He trimmed down, he leaned up, and looked really up for the fight, which just a shame it happened when it did.
Absolutely rotten luck. Stu, you spoke after the last game about the need for people to step up and that there might be some changes going into this one. What changes have you implemented?
Yeah, well, Max Holden, unfortunately, I spoke to him yesterday. He's out of the squad. Jack Davies comes in. He's had a run of a few scores, nothing big, but he's been consistent down in the twos. So he gets an opportunity to come into the squad for this game again. And it's one of those things. Poor Max, he had a game last week where there was an LB that could have gone either way. And unfortunately, it just culminated in the fact that not enough runs on the board for him. He understands that. He knows he's got to fight hard to get back in. And he's the one thing we're not concerned about with Max is his work ethic. He works probably too much. But that's really the only change that we're looking at this stage, and waiting for him tomorrow before we make a call on our team.
I suppose you mentioned obviously getting down to the twos and finding some form and getting yourself back into the groove. Eski's obviously scored some runs up at Radlett this week. I know Helmy bowled exceptionally well in the first innings up there. Is that how you want to see the twos being used? Give those boys an opportunity and people scoring runs in the twos and taking wickets in the twos and hammering on the door?
That's the way it should be used. It's still representing Middlesex. I want everyone to play in a Middlesex shirt and hat to go out and win the game of cricket as well. So every opportunity you get to play for Middlesex should be grabbed with both hands. Batters, we're just asking them to score runs. That's your job, that's what you signed up for. And bowlers contribute to a win. You don't have to take 6-fers and 8-fers. If you do, great, but let's contribute to wins. And the boys that have gone back down, there hasn't been the massive scores, which we're still waiting on, but there's been some contributions that have been healthy, and we really enjoyed watching them play yesterday when I went out there to Radlett as well. So they do have to go and score runs. It's a performance-based game. If you don't put performances on the board, you haven't got a leg to stand on really when it comes to missing out on selection.
Yeah, well look Stu, thanks for your time, all the very best of luck this week. Here's wishing you well.
Cheers mate, thanks Fletcher.